them. All right. So just so you know. Okay, so we have 26 of the handout here, reformers and self-helpers. So on 26, all right, one of the biggest ones that we need to know is Jane Addams. You're good, Jesse. Thank you. And she established what were called settlement houses. Now, these were for the most part, immigrants. Okay, so I do want you to be aware of that. Jane Addams, and this is happening over in Chicago. Know that word, whole house. I know what you're thinking. I know exactly what you're thinking, Madison. I know exactly what you're thinking. Why wouldn't they call them Adams House? Because they thought that was too close to the Adams family and people would think it's weird. No, Lindsay, that's not the case. But I thought it was funny. Okay, it was horrible. I get it, but I tried. Anyway, she opened settlement houses. Sometimes I just crack myself up. Called whole houses, where different ethnic groups, old people, but also the big one here is immigrants. Okay, where immigrants would stay. And that's not actually, those categories up there were a lot smaller than the immigrants. I want you to know that. Mostly immigrants. And that's the last one there. It really was for immigrants. Immigrants have someone that cares, okay? And this was done to help out. Make sure, again, keep in mind whole house, Hull, okay? Not Adams houses, whole house. All right? And why are they called whole houses? That's named after the builder of the house, which was customary, by the way. If you go to like certain mansions, things like that, it's actually usually named after the builder. Okay. So that's the whole house. Okay. All right. Then we also had at the same time there the social gospel. Can anybody tell me what the social gospel was? This is on page 26 also. Well, we've gone over this before. Come on now. There's a social gospel and there's a gospel of wealth.
Is it like God gave you the right to have, like, be where you are?
That's the gospel of wealth. So what's the social gospel? All right, let's go to page, I think it's 58. Yep, 58, handwritten in your book. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, what's the social gospel? Let's read through it. Lindsay, if you would, please.
You come to us and tell us that the great cities are in favor of the gold standard. Am I in the right thing?
No, I don't think so.
And that's right.
Yeah, 158, please.
Um,
Notebook binder.
I'm gospel. In the 1880s and 1890s, a number of Protestant clergy espoused
Meaning exposed.
the social justice for the poor, especially in the urban poor. They preach what they call the social gospel, the importance of applying Christian principles to social problems. Leading the social gospel movement in the late 19th and early 20th century was a Baptist minister from New York, Walter Radebush.
Yep.
Who worked in the poverty-stricken neighborhood of New York City called Hell's Kitchen. Wrote several books urging organized religions to take up the cause of social justice. The social gospel preaching linked Christianity to progressive reform movement and encouraged many middle-class Protestants to attack urban problems.
Okay, and what this was simply put, the social gospel was where it's basically the church getting involved in society to help others, okay? And that's where the social gospel differs from the gospel of wealth. Now, the gospel of wealth felt that you should help others. That's philanthropy. But social gospel is really the beginning of the churches, or a continuation of the churches getting involved. Is anybody familiar with a church organization that gets involved in society? Have you ever heard of the YMCA? You know what it stands for? Young Men's Christian Association. Christian. Okay? So it was to put the church in society. Now, what should that remind you of?
Like,
Church in society.
like the congregation of churches say? Or like,
No, the church is to make sure that people focus on the churches in society. Put the church in everyday life. Okay, there were two of them. One's right above Madison's head. Somebody's going to get it. Somebody's going to get it. The Great Awakening. Yes, the Great Awakening. Putting the church in everyday lives. That's what the whole point was. Okay, temperance movement, other reformers. I'm just going to go through this. Now, the temperance had to do with what? Anybody know what temperance dealt with? The temperance movement?
alcohol.
Yes. This was to temper the use of alcohol. Okay, let's just read through this. Francis Willard. Go, Madison, go. I do want you to know that. Take a look at this. Okay? Temperance movement, not using alcohol, also fought for women's right to vote. We want to know Francis Willard. Now, that's on that page 26 there. Now, notice, though, I want you to know this. When are women guaranteed the right to vote?
1920.
And what amendment?
19.
Take a look at those years. 1920. Look at the years. No, look at the screen, seriously. Look at the years. Look at when women were voting. You got to know Wyoming was the first state to allow women to vote in 1890, 30 years before the 19th Amendment. I want you to know that. Why did Western states allow women to vote? Madison just read it.
Be educated.
Didn't hurt anything. What else? They were dependent on women, so why not let women vote? Obviously, all Eastern states were in the same boat. They should have allowed also, but they didn't. But I want you to know Francis Willard and know those states, especially Wyoming. Wyoming allowed women the right to vote back in 1890. You got to know that. My goodness, you want to see a contextualization question on an AP test. You see what we just did there? Stay with me. You see how you got back here, period 6 is 1890. When are women guaranteed right to vote? Lindsay, you just said it? 1920. See how we can compare the two there? But see, guys, now watch this. I'm going to show you another one, Madison. Watch this. We can even go back to here and say this is when Abigail Adams told her husband to remember the
Women. Or ladies.
either or works for me. Okay, so you see how we did that. Over here, we could go to here, and we have a woman vice president. We also had a woman run for president in 2016. Okay, so that's how we can do that. But make sure you know Wyoming 1890, Wyoming 1890, Wyoming 1890. Now you say it.
Wyoming 1890.
Good. Okay, moving right along. Ida B. Wells. Barnett, we took a look at her as far as an assignment. Okay. Ida B. Wells ran the anti-lynching campaign. All right. And I'm not sure where she is. Where do I have her? Maybe I don't have her on here. Okay, Ida B. Wells, just make sure you understand she was an investigative journalist. And she was against lynching, anti-lynching campaign. Obviously a horrific institution.
just had her as an assignment a while ago.
Yes. Yep. Don't confuse her with Ida Tarbell. Ida Tarbell is the one that brought down Standard Oil. She investigated Standard Oil. Ida B. Wells investigated lynching in the South. Okay? And she also helped with settlement houses. There are those whole houses in Chicago. That's big. Okay? Settlement houses, whole houses. Okay. Let's do this. Take a look over at page 27. Just take a couple minutes there, page 160, 161. 160, 161. And see what you can get for some of those categories there. Don't write your hand off. We only have about 3 minutes anyway. But see what you can write down. What is sociology? You can see psychology became new fields of study. And obviously, you can just use your own information, what you know. Okay? So just give that a shot. All right?